In this video, we're going to talk about rational expressions and how to simplify by adding them or multiplying and dividing them. So let's just jump into it, and I bet you'll figure it out pretty quickly how it works. Let's say you have the following that you had to add together. Now, the problem with a question like this is to add fractions. If you were doing something like this, 5 over x plus 4 over x, the bottom, the denominator, has to be the same. If they're exactly the same, then you can add the tops and you get that, and that would be correct. But in one like this, you can't do that because they are not the same. One's x plus 1, one's x minus 1. So here's how you want to do that. You want to get a denominator that's the same for the both. So in reality, put both denominators together and figure out how to make them the same so you can add them together. So in this case, basically, x plus 1, x minus 1 is your denominator. That would be what is in both of them. So if you have both parts, you can add it together. Now, if it's going to be x plus 1, but here it's x plus 1, x minus 1, this is missing an x minus 1. So in reality, what I'm going to do is I'm going to multiply this by x minus 1. Look how that matches this. And whatever I do on the bottom, I do on the top, because overall, this equals 1. So if I took 4 times x minus 1, that would fix that one. If this one needs to be x minus 1, x plus 1, then it needs an x plus 1. So in reality, x plus 1 is what I need to do there. So in this case, this is 4x minus 4, and this is 2x plus 2. So the whole thing added together, when they have matching denominators, is going to be this, all of this, plus all of that. So 4x and 2x is 6x, and minus 4 plus 2 is minus 2. And there's my answer. So what I had to do is I had to get a denominator that was matching. So whenever you see two denominators that don't match, make the denominator both of them. And then what does this one need? Multiply the top and bottom by that. What does this one need? Multiply top and bottom by that. Add across, and you got your functions. That's what you do for addition. Okay? So let me try one more of those. Let's say you had one like 5 over x plus 4 plus 3 over x minus 2. Well, I know that x plus 4, I'll do this a little faster this time, is my common. So what does this one need? It needs x minus 2. So that's 5x minus 10. I went ahead and distributed that. 5x minus 10. And this one needs the x plus 4. So that's 3x plus 12 as I distribute that through. Add them together. 8x, which is those two, plus 2 over x plus 4, x minus 2, and that's my answer. And so I match them up and do the work. If I did that a little too fast, back up and watch that part again. But that's how you do addition. If it were to have been a subtraction, then I would have done all the same thing, and in the very last step, 5x minus 3x is 2x, and minus 10 minus 12 is minus 22 over x plus 4, x minus 2. And so all the math's the same, except the very last step is if it was a minus and subtraction, you would subtract and you would have your answer. That's how that works. Okay? If you're doing multiplying and dividing, it's slightly different. I would show you this example real quick. If I had numbers like this, and I needed to simplify it, anything that's on top and bottom, I see a 5 there, a 5 goes into 10 2 times, a 2 marks out a 2, a 7 marks out a 7. When I simplify that, all of that marks out, and my answer is an 8. When you have rational expressions, so again, all I did was mark out things that were on top and bottom. When I do multiplying and dividing, it works just like that. So let me show you. So let's say I had that times x squared minus 9 over 2x squared minus 6x. I'm going to give you a second to write that down. Pause it and then come back. When it says simplify, that means there's things I can mark out. So how can I make that happen? Well, I can simplify the top right there as x plus 2 x minus 2. So I factored that. On the bottom, x and x, it's a plus sign, so they're both pluses. 3 and 2 give me 5. All I'm doing is factoring everything down. This is x plus 3, x minus 3 for that one. And then if I took, I can't factor that one like that one, but I see there's a 2 and an x in both of those. All that I have left, if I take a 2x out of that, I have an x, and a 2x, I have a minus 3. So I broke everything down. Now start marking stuff out. Since it's a multiply, I can mark out. That goes away. That goes away. That goes away. All I have left is x minus 2 over 2x. All right? So how did I do that one more time? I factored everything down, and then I started marking parts out. You can only do that in multiply and divide. Okay? So let me show you one more of those. Okay? And then you're going to get to try some on your own. Here's a divide one. A little bit of a trick to this one, so you got to be careful. Now, dividing, what that really means is x minus 6 over x squared minus 9. All of that divided by x plus 3, x minus 3. That's really hard to do. But whenever you have a fraction under a fraction, what you're going to do is invert and multiply. What that means is you're going to take that, you're going to flip it over, and then you're going to multiply. So really, I don't want the division anymore. What's on the bottom is now on the top. X minus 3 is going to be on top. X plus 3 is going to be on the bottom. So in reality, when it says divide, take the second thing, flip it over, and just make it multiply, and your life just got a little easier. This is x plus 3, x minus 3. If I factor that, mark out parts. Minus 3, minus 3. And what do I have left? I have x minus 6, x plus 3, times x plus 3, which is the same as x plus 3 squared. So there's my answer. X minus 6 over x plus, this should be plus sign, plus 3 squared. Now I can't mark those two out because they're both in the same position. The only way I can mark something out is if it's on top and bottom, and those two were, but those are side by side, so it's x plus 3 squared. That's how I simplify that down. All right, in the next video, you're going to get to practice some, where you simplify them down and mark out parts. Takes a little practice, but I bet you can do it.